Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Hello, everybody. Today is day 2 of the chatbot challenge. Thank you, repeat challenge goers for showing up today. I really appreciate it. Okay, cool. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get started. And again, if you already have an agency and you already have your niche selected, today might not be, I think all of you on the call right now have an agency, you've got a niche selected. So, maybe you could help others that are trying to pick a niche. I've got a few things I'd like to go over for the people that don't have an agency, don't know what a niche is. So that's really what today is. So again, if you already have the niche, you don't want to sit around, you don't want to participate today, that's totally fine. I'm going to put these notes up like I do, and I'll put the video up. Okay? Awesome. Well, first of all, who already has picked out what niche they're going to be serving? Either they're currently serving them or you'd like to serve them with conversational AI.
I think mine is other high level agencies. That's what my audience already kind of consists of.
That's a good one. Yeah, your
Yeah.
niche is a go high level expert, and now you're bringing in another skill
Yeah.
set to it that's separate. It's not,
Yeah.
the chatbots are theoretically CRM agnostic, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. What about you, Tony?
Say it again. What's the
What's
question?
your niche? What niche are you serving? And for those who
Oh,
don't know what a niche is, a niche is a a group of people that you choose to serve with your service. So, for
yeah.
instance, some examples are home services, and I'll show you all these examples in a sec. Home services, solar, real estate, B2B, B2C. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Tony, I think you're doing real estate.
Yeah, my focus is real estate, not necessarily real estate agents so much, but like people in the investor niche,
Yep.
so the wholesalers, the creative finance guys, those kind of people.
Yep. Yeah, we have a lot of realtors in here. What about you, Luigi?
Yeah, I actually don't have any, so this is interesting for me
Okay,
today.
cool. Yeah,
I
I
think
think.
that my own niche is actually the problem, not really the industry.
What do you mean by that?
Like let's say, I don't know, like a DBR, for example, a database reactivation. That solves a problem, but it doesn't matter if you're a roofer, or if you're an accountant, or if you're a gym. I'm trying to
True.
look at it that way instead of I just want to help dentists. I don't know. I don't know if it's a good approach or not, but
Well, there's a few schools of thought on picking a niche. Um, and what I've learned is that if you niche, so for instance, can you see my screen here? So here's an example of what's called niching down. So you want to serve everybody. I want to serve dentists. I want to serve this. I want to serve that, which is great. You may get a ton of clients in, but you're never going to be a specialist. You're never going to
mhm.
be able to charge a premium if you're not like the real estate guy, and that's all you focus on. And I've been guilty of this myself. So, for instance, Rosenfeld Marketing is my site. There's really no niche other than a high level niche, local businesses or services. Well, that means everybody, right? Because just like you, I'm like, well, everyone needs a bot. I can make a few $100s by installing a bot for this guy and that guy and this guy and that guy. And that's a great way to make money. It's a great way to get your foot in the door, but it's probably not going to allow you to charge the highest rates for your service.
Yeah.
So let's talk example of niching down. Okay. So this is a site where I'm offering my AI services to basically everybody. It's a giant niche. It's everybody. So I'm going to niche down, and it's almost identical. Same website, same uh same offer. I'm offering you conversational AI to book or to answer, qualify, and book your appointments, right? But notice how I've niched down into solar, EV, and generators. Okay. So it's electricians niche down into the higher ticket items, right? So they'll love to do your database reactivations and all the techniques you can do to get in clients. These clients seem to have more available money because their jobs are much, much bigger than like maybe a plumber, or unless they're replaced, or someone working on your switches in your house on your walls. Those are really low ticket items, but still good for electricians. They're going to want clients, right? So you could serve them. But if you're niching down into solar, EV, when we get into how you sell this stuff, I'll show you spreadsheets that show the value of high ticket packages that you could sell that get them booked appointments for a certain cost that I know for a fact people are paying. And so when we get into, once you have your niche and you got your agency set up, we'll talk about marketing. You'll see how you market this stuff. And I'll show you some examples of niches while we're in the section of what is a niche. Okay. So here's an example of a niche that I made all these examples, right? So here's solar. You guys can try these out yourself right now. So if you go to solar tech, this is using CloseBot. You could message it. If you can see, I don't know how big the screen is down here over in the corner, but you could see my conversation. This took me, I'm not kidding you, 20 minutes to make this entire demo here. And it works pretty well out of the box. You can see it's talking to me. It's asking if I own my home, what's my credit score? Because, the big purchase. And this is the default solar bot from CloseBot. It just worked out of the box. Enough for a demo that's really enticing. Here's another example of a niche. Real estate. Let me refresh this. Real estate. Oh, Facebook's acting up. It's not loading everything. So here's an example of real estate. This is real people. They're actually real realtors. This is fake name. So they currently, all they have to market their real estate services is the web page that they get from realtor.com. It's not that great. It's not SEO'd that well. When they click on a listing, it leaves the site and goes to a shared listing. So it's not the most effective for realtors. So if you can tell them, I can make you individual listing pages, or I can make you, this person who I talked to make this bot who's a realtor, they want to buy properties. So I said, let me make a buying bot, where if you come to Facebook, all it does is try to buy people's homes all day, every day. This is a great thing to do a database reactivation too, when we talk about marketing techniques, to an existing realtor's list, to send them to a bot that tries to buy their home, okay? Because this is how they get inventory that they can then sell, right? And when we talk about more techniques, I'll show you individual listing bots that I've created for realtors. So you'll notice certain niches are more profitable because there's so many different things you can sell. Like James's niche might be goal high level users, because that's his current niche, and they need so much help. There's so many uses for a bot that I could see his mind is spinning, different ways to charge for packages for existing clients. There's a ton of ways to package your offer. We're going to go over that later. Okay. So this is real estate, and this is just the buying bot. This person also has a listing bot, which I'll show you. And that's something you could package up for realtors in a high ticket package to sell for conversational AI. Here's another example of business to business. So EOS is the entrepreneurial operating system, and it's essentially agile. If you're familiar with development, it's like agile for entrepreneurs. It's pretty cool. So I have some friends that are into this space, and they offer these services to businesses and consumers who want to learn about it. So I'm sorry, to other businesses. This is B2B, right? So you can see my conversation here is a bot that is just trying to let them know what EOS is. And when I show you examples of marketing techniques, I'll show you later a bot I made for EOS that allows you to download a chapter of a book, and then it emails you, or I'm sorry, then the AI texts you afterwards, because you got your number to get the book, right? It texts you afterwards saying, hey, thanks for downloading the book. Would you like to chat about it? So it's good for lead magnets. Conversational AI is great for lead magnets, okay? Here's another example. This is B2C, business to consumer. So I'm working with a large company who makes large commercial generators and industrial marine engines, which also act as generators. They have a service right now. You can look online if you want to do a search for this, where they buy generators from consumers, not the little one in your backyard, but commercial generators. They'll buy them for cash all over the country and then refurbish them and sell them. So I made a bot that all it does is try to buy your generator, right? And you can see here that it asks all these questions. And when I show you this example in more detail later in a different course, I'll show you how I looked at their form. There's a form on this website, and I just kind of repurposed it using questions in CloseBot and storing them in fields. And it's the same result of filling out a form or having CloseBot ask the questions in the form. And that's what this bot does. It asks them questions that they normally would have to fill out a form for, and then it sends it to someone who can contact them later to see if they want to buy their generator. Okay. All right, cool. So those are my examples of different niches. Any questions on niches? The different types of niches? There's millions of niches. I mean, these are just a few, obviously. In my opinion, these are some of the more profitable niches for conversational AI, just because I've talked to these folks in these different industries, and they're willing to spend money to replace a salesman or to, have more sales functionality in their business. Okay. And it's it's a key to success, because if you pick the wrong niche, you're going to just spin your wheels. You're not going to get high paying clients. You're not going to get motivated clients. You're going to get clients that may be a pain. You're not going to be able to figure out a good offer for them. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about coming up with an offer to sell clients. Okay. Okay, cool. So in order to pick a niche, you want to understand your strengths. What do you enjoy? Once you pick your niche, I mean, this is who you're going to serve, and this is who you need to become an expert in. If you want to sell solar roofs and you don't know anything about solar, but you know about bots, you need to become an expert in solar roofs, right? Maybe green energy. There's all sorts of different things you can learn to give you knowledge on an industry that you're trying to pitch. And also market needs. I started my lead generation business by offering EV charger leads to electricians. And it sounded awesome, right? New, cool, big. And I got clients right away. They were paying $97 a lead, no problem, but they weren't closing the lead. They weren't responding, and et cetera. So that's why I got into the bots. But it was a good niche, but it was hard. The clients weren't answering calls, and it was hard to have cheap leads in certain cities. So that niche just wasn't the best option, at least right now. Okay. So picking your niche is super duper important. Because again, you're going to be dealing with these type of clients for a long time. Okay. Any questions on that? Awesome. Okay. So how do you research potential niches? Okay. There's many ways to do this. So one way is you can look at industries that are trending, right? For instance, EV chargers is an industry that's trending. EV leads are trending. Commercial real estate trending, because there's so much open commercial real estate. I don't know if it's a good or bad trend, but that's something that's trending. Starting your own business is trending, because people are just, that's always a trend, especially nowadays with the ease of starting a business, working from home, all that type of stuff. And then you need to analyze the competition and the demand. So for instance, if you do pick, let's say you pick solar, you could search in Google or in ChatGPT, and I'll show you that in a second, for what are some other businesses doing chatbots in solar, right? You want to really research your niche and make sure that it's the right one for you. There's tools for analyzing competition. There's ways to, I'm not going to get into super complicated ways, because we're going to use this plugin that I talked about yesterday right now called Merlin, okay? So let me just show you this real quick. Merlin allows you to add a Chrome plugin for free. I don't know how they make money yet. But it's incredible. Like I said, it incorporates all the AI chatbots, which is why the chatbot engine behind your conversational AI solution they're two separate things. So we're all using CloseBot right now. It's working with ChatGPT, but you've probably seen Bryce talking about other AI models that will just plug right into CloseBot. So that allows us to use one tool, many brains, if you will. Okay, but we're going to use Merlin right now to help us with niche selection. Okay, so I have Merlin loaded over here, and you can do the same thing. It comes with a little plugin like this. And what's cool about Merlin is it can read web pages, and you can chat with the web page, right? So I need help selecting a niche, right? So I may use Merlin, and this page that I made here, I'm going to have Merlin read this page that you guys will have access to and help me with a niche. So I'm going to open up Merlin, and I'm going to say, chat with my document. And again, this is the coolest thing ever for free. It's unreal. Cool. Oh, I'm going to do this. I want to do chat with this web page. Cool. So it takes a second to say, I need help picking a niche for my AI chatbot agency. Can you help? So conversational AI works both ways. I'm conversing with it just to help me out right now. And I talk to it like it's a person. I don't know why. I'm nice. I say thanks, please, and thanks. Cool. So it gives me obviously some complicated answers to I need help picking a niche for my AI chatbot agency. Can you help? Understand your strengths, doing research, kind of the same stuff that you see over here, because it's pretty standard. So I'm going to go further into Merlin. I'm going to say, okay, cool. How can you guide me through picking a niche slowly and step by step? And you could do this for anything you're researching, and step by step, because the chat bots do understand taking things slowly. If you tell ChatGPT to take things slowly, then it actually works better. It's shocking. So if you're doing a weird math equation and it's simple, but it doesn't come out right, you just tell it to take it step by step or take it slowly, and the chat bot will respond appropriately. Okay, you got me through picking a niche slowly and step by step. Maybe you could ask me questions. So I'm going to have it ask me questions to help me pick out a niche. It's obviously long. I can say, okay, again, more concise. And this is, this helps you as you also do your conversational AI for your clients, is just getting better and better and better. So it's narrowing down what I need to do. You could say, okay, now help me with step 1. Does its thing. Okay, and it just keeps guiding you, giving you more and more detail. I'm not going to do this right now, but this is something you guys can do on your own, that you can ask it. It'll read a web page. So it knew all of the stuff from this workflowy web page that I have loaded, and it's going based off that data. If you want to load something else like, great niches for AI chatbot agencies, right? And you can look here. Here's one, top AI automation niches for agencies. And I'll go back to Merlin. I'm going to say, okay, cool. Okay, I'm sorry. I need to have Merlin look at this web page. My bad. So you have Merlin look at the web page. Let's see. I don't know how to reset it. How to do this. Okay. I'm going to Merlin chat with this web page about niches. This could be any web page. I'm going to say, okay, please help me a niche using this page. I mean, it's giving you answers right here using chat. So if you trust ChatGPT's answers and you trust the training that it's giving itself based on the knowledge you gave it, I mean, online marketing agencies, that's kind of the niche that James is in. He's already going after people that have agencies, right? That's his niche. Legal industry. I've seen bots for lawyers. You say, hey, what's your legal problem? What's the problem? Then it literally will tell you if it's a possible case. I don't like to get into that niche because I worked in a law firm for 9 years, and it just seems a bit risky to be providing legal advice unless you're working with an attorney. So if you're doing legal stuff, make sure you're working with a lawyer, okay? Social media marketing agencies, again, what James is talking about, he's helping the miners mine, right? So that's another niche, is to help the miners. Don't mine yourself, be Levi Strauss and make jeans for the miners, right? So that's kind of what that is there. Taxes, wealth coaching. I mean, this is just a few of the niches. It doesn't even talk about the ones we went over. Okay. Any questions about how you can use something like Merlin to help you with the niche? And that's how a few people pick up niches. And it's also a gut feeling, right? Oh, I don't know anything about taxes. That seems boring. Maybe lucrative, but I don't really want to get into taxes. Or maybe I love taxes. I love account. My dad's an accountant or something, and I want to get into that business. So find a niche that you like. All I got to say about that. Okay. And that means you need to understand your strengths. So, for instance, if you're really good at making, at setting up full snapshots for solar companies, that's a strength you already have. If you're a good prompt writer, it's a strength you have. If you work with electricians before, maybe a strength you have. Okay. And you also have to match your strengths to the market needs. If the market doesn't need what you're offering, you're going to just be spinning your wheels. And this is really important, this matching your strengths to the market needs. And this is where ego gets in the way, where you just make a gut decision. I've done it myself. You make a gut decision that could be wrong. So be aware that, understanding your strengths and how you want to serve the people with those strengths is really important. Okay. Now, we talked about researching potential niches. Okay. So one thing you could do is identify trends, right? So this is my workflowy program, but I also have this workflowy document here, right? So I'm going to keep talking with it. I'm going to say, okay, cool. Okay, can you help me? Let's say I pick solar as my niche. Can you help me identify industry trends for conversational AI, which is what we're doing more than just a chatbot, in the solar industry. So this is where the other half of the chat world is just crazy, is helping you with your own agency. So starting a chatbot agency is one half is offering it to other people, and then the other half is you understanding how to use it for yourself to start your agency. I think people are really getting into that too, because as you get better at prompting your bot and you know what bots can do and how chatbots work, you'll also be better and better and better at using the technology for yourself. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. So this is using GPT 3.5, so it's not accessing the web. I think you can upgrade to GPT. Yeah, I mean, you can do GPT-4, but it's super expensive. And look at all these awesome models it does. So if you do some of the different chat models, it will surf the web, but that's okay for now. So it's telling me where I could find, how to find industry trends. So let's say it's giving me industry reports and publications. This is going to be challenging because it's not online. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up just so we can do this real quick. Again, you can use Merlin. You can upgrade to ChatGPT-4. I don't know how much it costs. This is free here. Again, I don't know how they make money because I haven't paid a dime for this thing yet, but I have paid for this. This is ChatGPT. If you actually pay for it through OpenAI. So I'm going to ask GPT-4 here. I'm going to copy what it said, industry reports and publications. I'm going to say, can you give me examples of industry reports and publications for the solar industry? The more context you give your bot, the better, especially in a new conversation. There you go. So you're using chat to not only tell you what you should do, you can use ChatGPT to give you examples of where to do more research. So that's essentially I'm not going to call it a trick. That's at least a technique that I found successful for people that don't have an agency, don't know where to start, is to use ChatGPT to help you pick out your niche. And as long as you know the basics of what a niche is, why you want to find a good niche, you should be good to go. Okay. The next step is evaluating market needs. So if you pick a niche that doesn't need you, you're not going to make any money. If you find, for instance, I think someone mentioned before that there's a gap in a certain industry that a chatbot could help. For instance, I found there was a gap for electricians responding to their leads on time, qualifying them and booking them. So that was a gap that I recognized, and I solved it with a conversational AI. So if you could find conversational AI, or if you could find gaps in an industry or a market that can be solved or filled in with your solution, you're going to be successful. And understanding their pain points. So that means that when you're talking to your client, hey, what do you hope to achieve with the bot? What are some problems you're having with lead generation? What issues have you run into responding to leads in a timely manner? So if you can ask your client for pain points, or if you understand your audience's pain points, so we're going to go back to Merlin. I'm going to say, what are some pain points? Pain points per understanding the target audience. Let's see, it should remember this page. I don't have to give it any more context. Boom. So ChatGPT is answering questions. And are these the best answers? Probably. I mean, they're pretty good. But are they the final end-all, be-all answer? Of course not. You need to do your own research. I'm using ChatGPT and Merlin as a tool to help me do all the steps to pick a niche. And we'll use it again and again and again for offers and writing and all sorts of stuff. So here's some pain points: lack of customer insights, inadequate market research. You're probably not really going to be helping them with your chatbot. But look, communication barriers. What do you know? Chatbots could speak in multiple languages, right? So you can tell your bot, respond in any language. Okay, I'm working with someone who wants a bot in Mandarin. And I'm like, oh, that could be a problem. Not a problem at all. It just does it. So this is huge. I mean, if you find a client or an industry that's hitting all sorts of different consumers that may speak a bunch of different languages, that's a great use for a bot. Limited resources. This is a great one here. What's the limited resource? Time, money, employees. What do you know? An AI chatbot can replace an employee. It could save you time, and it's far, far, far cheaper than a human. Okay. Competitor influence. So Did the competitors have chatbots? If they don't, they could be a first mover in the market, right? And then technology adoption. These are emerging technologies, and you need to be aware that to us, we're all into chatbots and we think it's so cool and we're learning about it, we're playing with it. But to other people, this is still totally new. They don't know anything about it. They don't know the difference between the chatbots they've been seeing in the past, right? So if they're willing to jump into new technology, new technology is a pain point for any business. So if you can help them over the hump, especially with this technology, it's also good for you. Okay. So these are crucial. And again, I'm using ChatGPT to help me with these answers for myself. And I'm having a conversation with myself and the chat engine to figure out what it is I want to do. Okay. Any questions about that? Awesome. Okay, let's move on. Okay. So yeah. So considerations for chatbot agency niche. I think we went over some of these. Specific industries are better than others. Real estate, electricians, solar, business to B2B, onboarding a customer and to go high level. There's all sorts that would be onboarding a social media marketing agency. So that would be one industry. And we talked about this. And this is really important here, is the tech savviness in your chosen niche. I cannot stress this enough. And I'll give you a great real world example of what happens if you do this incorrectly. So the first niche that I got into for lead gen was electricians. Okay. And quite a few electricians are not tech savvy. As a matter of fact, they're Luddites, meaning they don't like technology. They make fun of technology. So that's going to, if you go to an electrician group and say, hey, I'm offering chatbots, you're going to get a lot of people making fun of you. Okay. But you're going to get a few people that believe in you. But it's going to be harder to sell a large group of people in a niche possibly like that because they're not as tech savvy as other niches, right? Someone who's doing solar installs, that's an electrician. They may be just as savvy as everyone else. Certain industries are more savvy. So if you're doing like industries like serving social media agencies, well, obviously they're going to be a little bit more savvy in terms of tech because they're using the technology. And one thing I like to mention is I like to tell clients that if they want to use my chatbots, I don't have to have them use Go High Level for lots of clients. Lots of clients don't want to use it, especially electricians. They have a CRM. They just want to get a text message or booked appointments, right? So I don't have to offer them Go High Level, but I do need to have them interact with their conversations in a way where they can see what the clients are saying. That means they need to use the Lead Connector app. So if they're willing to use the Lead Connector app, if you don't know what Lead Connector app is, it's a gray labeled app for Go High Level that allows your clients and yourself to log into their account, see all their opportunities, their contacts, etc. It's a great tool for your clients to look at their AI conversations and see everyone coming in and out. You have to make them a sub account, and we'll talk about this later if you don't know what I'm talking about, but you don't have to have them log into the sub account other than on their Lead Connector app. Okay, so tech savviness, especially when you're selling AI chatbots, is crucial. You don't want to spend a ton of time teaching about the tech, proving the tech works over and over again, handling tech support calls that are so basic or could be handled by them hitting support on their own, but they're not super savvy and they just don't know how to do that. So be aware of the niche you choose. A tech savvy niche helps. Okay. Any questions on that? Awesome. All right. So in terms of finalizing your niche selection, you need to make sure, and again, we can use Merlin to help us with this. You want to make sure that a niche has growth potential. It's a passionate niche, and there's competition. So for instance, the niche we're in right now, conversational AI, is there growth potential? Yeah. Is there passion for this? Oh, yes. Is there competition? Oh, yes. Same thing with solar. Is there growth in solar? Absolutely. Regardless of who's in office, solar is definitely going to be getting bigger and better and cheaper, right? Is there a passion for solar? Absolutely. People that are into green energy and things like that, they're very passionate about electricity. And is there competition? Yes. Solar is a massive, there's a lot of competition in solar. So for competition, do you want no competition in your industry is on one hand sounds great, but it also means that you need to do the convincing of the technology. So if you're pitching AI, conversational AI, in an industry with no competition, no examples, no success stories, that's going to be more challenging to make the sale, but you have less competition. Okay, so this is a positive and negative thing here, in my opinion. And then for niche selection, so decision-making strategies. when you pick your niche, you want to make sure that you'll be able to access decision makers. If you choose a niche that is all large corporate, I'm going to help corporate companies put chatbots on their websites. Well, it sounds awesome, right? Big, corporations need it. They can sell products, this and that. But to get the person to say yes to your offer to work with you, it's going to require multiple meetings, purchase orders, proposals, all that type of stuff. So be aware that the niche you select could make it harder for you to reach the decision makers. When you're doing solar, those are usually, unless they're a big company all over the country, all over a state, a lot of these solar installers are roofers and they have a business. And these can be successful businesses, millions of dollars of business, but owned by a guy who has maybe 10 people working for them. You can contact them directly. Same with real estate. You're going to talk to the realtor, right? Now, if you're doing a deal with the real estate and with an MLS, which is a multiple listing service, which realtors have to join in order to do listings, it's a real estate thing. But to work with an MLS, so you get a bunch of realtor clients, that's going to be harder because you need to reach a higher up decision maker. So this is important for your niche selection, just how easy it's going to be for you to make the sale and close the deal. Okay. And then we talked about why not ask Merlin. I'll say this again and again. You can, I've been using this Merlin thing constantly because it's free in combination with my ChatGPT license, which I think is $20 a month. So if you really want to get into chat and talking to chat and having chat help you out, you may also want to get actually ChatGPT from OpenAI if you're not using it now. We're not going to get into this right this second. Okay. All right, cool. So your homework for tonight is you need to I know most of you on this call already have a niche, and that's awesome. But Luigi, if you don't have a niche, or if you're thinking, I don't know what I want to do tonight, I'd like, and before class, use these tools, try to think of a niche. And I know, like James, he already has a market, an audience, but he's figuring out how he can maybe sub niches in a market, like go high level users is a big category, right? So by niching down, we talked about the word niching down, you might want to do go high level users that offer social media marketing services to solar industries and doesn't have a chatbot yet. That's called niching down. And again, the further you niche down, the more profitable you could be, the more targeted you can be, the more focused you could be, and the bigger of an expert you could be. And it's really important to try to be that expert. Okay. So that's your homework for tonight. All right. Tomorrow, we're going to go over offer creation using Merlin again and looking at some examples. I have spreadsheets where I show different offers for different industries, a real estate offer, a solar offer. I've got a buying bot offer, a listing bot offer. I got a bunch of different offers. I'll share the spreadsheet with everybody so they can see how I kind of think and how I use a spreadsheet to come up with what are my freebies going to be, what are my upsells going to be, things like that. Okay. So that's coming tomorrow, which is Wednesday, right? So are there any questions for today? Awesome. So I'm going to stop the recording, but I'll stay on the line for the next 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. If anyone, like yesterday, we went through James's bot for a live bot build. If anyone needs help, we can do it right now. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to stop the recording.
It doesn't hurt to record it. You may not have to use it.
Yeah, I know. I was going to record it twice because my school only allows for an hour, but yeah. Okay, yeah. Just take everyone pause and just stare it straight. Okay, cool. Now we can go on. Awesome. So does anybody have anything they'd like to work on live right now with me?
Yeah, I have it, Josh.
You want to go? All right.
Yeah, I want to go because, this niche thing is something that I totally understand, but I also struggle with, okay? And so my biggest struggle is the following: is in my day job for the last decade, I've always been in sales and B2B. So I know the business's landscape and consulting and all of that because that's what I do. But there isn't really, say, follow your passion. I'm not really passionate about, those industries, whether it's manufacturing or dentistry. I mean, I work really with even some big companies, right? So there's never been something except one, maybe travel. Travel has always been the one that I love, but I love and hate at the same time because there is no money to be made in travel because of the way that they are structured. There's only a few entities that make money. The rest is kind of like commission under commission under commission. So that's kind of like out of the way unless someone has a brilliant idea
No,
here.
you're right. I mean, I don't know how whoever's left on the call, I don't know how y'all came up with your niche. I was doing design my whole career, right? Like I decided to I've always been interested in lead gen. So when I got laid off, I said I'd like to start a lead gen agency. And I think that, and I had a hunch about EV chargers and the electric, that whole industry. That's kind of why I picked that niche originally, which led me to the chatbot niche, which I'm really passionate about. I was passionate about the other stuff because I can get passionate about most anything that I'm kind of believe in. So yes, may you have to pick a niche that isn't your true love of life passion, of course, but try to pick something that's at least going to be of interest to you because you want to be able to do, social media marketing for yourself. Like I'm doing these posts and I'm, doing podcasts and this and that. You're going to want to do the same thing. So the more you can make yourself an expert in a niche, just the better for you. It's easier to make content. It's easier to make a name for yourself. It's easier to brand yourself. It's easier to, just it just narrows everything down. So you mentioned a couple niches like B2B. That's a giant niche. I mean, that's the biggest niche. I showed an example of EOS as a B2B type niche. Am I passionate about it? No, but my client was, right? So that was an example of my agency helping a client out with something they were passionate in because I'm passionate about chatbots, right? So if I'm helping someone with a chatbot, I'm going to be into it. I may not love their business so much, but I'm going to come up with a way to get a chatbot in there. So that's the passion for me is the chatbot. It was kind of industry agnostic, but I do find some industries better, like the go high level user industry is probably the funnest industry to be in because they're all of like mind. James, what do you think? I mean, they're all kind of on the same wavelength as you. You don't have to do this hard sell, and that's a huge business. Is helping is mining the miners. I don't want to use that expression, but essentially that's what you're doing. Is you're not going to you're going to help other people, and that's a great thing to do too. You can you mentioned travel, okay? Maybe we'll come up. Maybe you could do some if that is your passion. You like travel. Why can't you make a conversational AI bot and offer it to travel agents?
I just want to say about travel, like I don't know. I think travel's huge. I mean, you're just how much money, what percentage of the travel industry do you need to, know what I mean? I don't know where you got that impression. I'm thinking travel. I mean, there's, I don't know, billions of dollars in travel.
No, I've been there for 5 years, James. That's why.
I don't know. I mean, but there's definitely money to be made in travel. I don't know what aspect or what you're doing in travel, but I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know.
We'll talk about offers. And once you see some offers for on their industries, your mind will start spinning about an offer you can make for a travel agent. Leads. I mean, that's a market. It's pretty easy to generate leads and then using AI to qualify them and nurture them for a trip, for their package offers. I mean, they're selling a lot of things, and but like James said, that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it might not be your love. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to make sure you do what you love every time because what you love may not be profitable. And this is a job. I mean, this is what we need to do for a living. But travel, I mean, I think that's a good niche. I think that's almost as good as real estate. If you do it right and you have a good offer, I'll get you in this many leads a month for this amount. I'll get you this many booked appointments for this amount. And I'll show you how the numbers add up, especially when you're offering it as part of a SaaS play. Well, I mean, almost everyone on this call has a SaaS, right? And they want people in their SaaS. So the add-on, the value add of the conversational AI is huge to possibly an already existing business or a new business that you may want to start. But I think travel is potentially good. When we get into next week or the week after, we'll make a live travel bot and just see what a travel bot could do. I've watched some people on this call make a bot in real time for things you never thought they're new. I mean, no one's ever thought of it yet. So it may not be an AI solution for travel that you can use to compare. And if that's the case, I have a feeling if you do it right, there's a lot of money to be made. If you could solve the problem of talking to people, qualifying them, and booking them, it seems like every industry would need that. Okay. Awesome. Do you need what else? Anything else? Luigi?
Oh, sorry. You were talking to me. I thought you were asking around.
Yes. We're working on you.
No, I'll just revisit it. Yeah, again, I don't want to repeat myself. I'll just revisit it, and I've been in the
ChatGPT.
for 5 years there, and I worked in different verticals, tour operators, travel agencies, and everything. So I kind of know how they think. The only upside for me would be, one, I'm passionate about it, and two, I know that it's one of those industries that, oh my gosh, if you make one person happy, like, you become famous the next day, because they're super active on groups.
Travel agents?
Yeah.
It sounds like that's a niche.
Also, suppliers and because ultimately, I mean, travel agents, yeah, but there are a lot of suppliers there that sell, packages, accommodations, excursions, tours. So
think about the demo you could whip
really
up for these
massive.
folks. You could make a Facebook page, make the bot scrape their website, and in like literally a half hour, you'd have a working demo to just pitch anyone. You could change what it scraped, keep the same bot, and just change what it's scraping to show the next client, the next client, the next client. I haven't thought of the travel industry, but that definitely seems like if you're passionate, if you like the industry and you have 5 years of experience in it, that's only going to make it easier for you to set up an agency and sell it, and you already know some stuff.
Thanks.
I didn't know anything about EV leads.
I will definitely brainstorm tonight and try to.
Yeah, and use ChatGPT. Like, what's wrong with the travel industry? Why wouldn't I want to do it? Or, what industry? Yeah, use ChatGPT as much as you can and just your intuition. But this is something you'll be hopefully doing for years to come, and you want it to be fun.
Yep.
And profitable. Like James said, travel is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So, okay, cool. Anything else? You done? Awesome. Thank you all for coming. James, thanks for inviting other people. I really appreciate that, as usual.
If you got more time, dude, we can. I've got more.
Want to do a live build today?
What's that?
You want to do something else today? Something else live today?
Yeah, let's. Yeah, I want to. Maybe let's jump into that concise prompting thing that they.
I'll hit you up after lunch.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, guys. Okay. That was day 2. Neat selection. I'm going to post this video. I'm going to post these slides you see here. And thank you all for coming. And I'll see you tomorrow when we come up with our offers, our irresistible offers. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.